Gyökeres stuff, I mean, music to my ears in terms of finally looks like we're going forward on the striker. But, you know, like Lee said, until it's signed, sealed, delivered, we know better at Arsenal to get carried away with it.
I can't get excited. Maybe people call me a moaner and everything like that. I cannot get excited like a lot of people have until it's done. When it's done, as far as I'm concerned, it's a massive game changer if we get it. And it changes the dial. It really does. But at this moment in time, until that one gets done, Arsenal ain't challenging for the title. They're not going to win the title. But with Gyökeres, it gives you, or a centre forward of that, it gives you that little bit of hope. But nothing's done yet, and everybody seems to think that it is, and it might well be get done in the end. But as when they show that shirt like they did with Zubimendi and all that, then I can relax a little bit and say, right, yeah, I can enjoy it and everything. Maybe I'm different to everybody else and that, but everybody's like, well, there's people. I was in the gym yesterday, and two guys come up to me like, fantastic that we signed Gyökeres. So I said, what's it, breaking news? No. I said, we ain't signed him yet. You know what I mean? But it's advanced. It's advanced. Well, I haven't. I've been on this bloody treadmill for about 4 hours. It ain't advanced me in any way. What is going on? You know what I mean? What does advance mean? Can someone really explain to me what that means? Because I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Advance is just one shy of here we go.
I saw a video. Sorry, one second. Go on, sorry.
No, I'm playing along because I know what Lee's saying. If by the time this show comes out and it is a here we go, or it is confirmed in some way, shape, or form, how are we feeling about Gyökeres being the one that Arsenal have leaned towards?
Me, do you want me to go first? I think it's a
it looks like Jordan might start with a negative. So go on, let's start with
I know. I spoke to Jordan about this the other day. You know what I mean? He preferred Watkins, but don't. Let's not go down there. Let's not go down there. Put him on the list. That's all I'm saying. Just put him on
He's on the list.
But I do think it's a game changer. I really do. I think that what we've lacked over the last couple of years is a proper centre forward that when it matters, when you're not playing that well, ball goes across the box, bang, goal, and you think you walk away from a game and think, well, we didn't play well today, but we've won. I don't think we really say that too much at Arsenal. You know what I mean? Arsenal have to play to a certain level to get a result every time. When have Arsenal played really, really bad and ended up winning 3 or 4-0? I can't remember it too many times, you know what I mean? But other teams do because they've got that goal scorer that gets them out of trouble a little bit. I'm not saying they should rely on it, but I think it's a definite weapon for us. I also think it will help the players in and around that area, the Sakas, the Martinellis, the Odegaards, that haven't played with a proper centre forward for a while. And I just think that it's also a boost for the fans. I don't care what anybody says because you feel like the club are wanting it as much as you do. You know what I mean? I question that in January that the club and even the management didn't really want it because they didn't go out and get a striker in January, and that hurt me because I really want Arsenal to win the title and everything like that, and I felt that the club didn't. Maybe obviously they did, but there's certain things sometimes you just have to go above and beyond, and I think that this is an above and beyond sign. I think it's needed. Listen, what day was it? Come out on the Sunday, didn't it? That we're going for it.
Yeah.
That you could see the fan base was up for it and all that. And I honestly think, I don't know how you guys feel about this. If we was to sign Gyökeres tomorrow, I don't care about who comes in after that. You know what I mean? But if they're bringing in players and not that centre forward, I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated by that, because I don't want to bring in another Chelsea player for 50 million if it's and worried about 3 or 4 million to get a deal over for the striker that we need. So I do think that the next one coming through the doors has got to be the striker, guys. I really do, and I do think it's a game changer for us. I'm, maybe I'm being a bit delusional, but
it's the win now. It's the win now. It would, if we go back to what it was, the reality of what Arsenal were trying to do, and that's not Isak. The reality looked like, and it wasn't Osimhen, because his name probably wasn't in the hat as much as it should have been. It was Gyökeres or Sesko. And to be honest with you, the win now one, the one that applies, more pressure on himself to get 20 goals this season and more pressure on the club and the manager to get over the line this season is Gyökeres. Because he, as much as there might be doubts about the league he's scored in and the type of goals he scores and, nonsense about he doesn't score headers when we've got about 4 men that can score headers. Why do we need another one? We need something different. It's the pressure signing. It's the one that needs to get us. And I'm not like you, Lee, in that I care who they bring in after him, because I've not cared at times before, and Arsenal really taken the piss and then cancelled out the good work they've done earlier in the window with some poor work later on in the window. So I'm still keeping a keen eye on an Eze and a Rodrigo, for example, because I think if those two get added with Gyökeres, then we're really cooking, because we're in the hype of, all right, we might be getting the hottest striker available in Europe at this moment in time, but Liverpool a few weeks ago got the hottest attacking midfielder available in world football, and Man City have got one of the prospects in Shirky, and Reinders coming in as midfielder of the season. So we can't forget that the competition has already extended the gap or increased the gap potentially on us in the first few weeks of the summer. So Gyökeres, I think, drags us back into it a little bit, but I do care what happens after. But I like that he's the win now signing. We want 20 goals from him, whereas Sesko would have been a bit different. And I like his mentality, probably more than anything. He sided off United a few weeks ago, citing that, he's waiting for Arsenal. And as soon as the, rumours really picked up with him, you're hearing all these other things about, he's willing to put a couple million himself from his salary package, and he wants to forget pre-season with sport and let's sort this one out here. I like that, because Man United probably would have paid him more, and he probably could have got more money elsewhere, but it seems like he also wants to be the guy that comes in and helps this club get over the line with something, which would in turn make him look how long we've been waiting for a league title. The team that wins the league title next, there's going to be a lot of revered players there, players that go down in history, especially for young fans and us who watched us win titles before. So I like the optics of it. Do I understand the risks? I understand the risks, but there's a risk with every striker available out there. And by available, I mean not Isak, it seems. So the risks are the risks, but I'd rather take the risks on someone that has been doing it rather than the risks on someone that we hope to do it. And that's why with the Gyökeres stuff, nothing against Sesko, I like that it's landed on him.
The thing is with Sesko, just before Jordan comes in, my fella in the gym said a fantastic point yesterday. He said, look, we get Gyökeres now, and in 2 years' time, get Sesko when he's ready. You know what I mean? Like that. I thought, that's a good fit. You know what I mean? Like, Gyökeres is like be 29, 30, sell him and bring in a Sesko that's the real deal. You know what I mean? Or someone who's the real deal then. And, I like that sort of mentality. That's the sort of mentality that Arsenal fans and the club has got to get, I suppose. You know what I mean? I didn't really think about that. You know what I mean? But like people go like, there is an argument that Sesko will be the better player long term, but at this moment we need it right now. Well, okay, get the player in you need right now, and in a couple of years' time, go and get another one that's right there. I think that is something that we could look at, especially if we're going on forward.
Yeah, we do it with left backs and goalkeepers. So why not do it with a striker summer on summer? And to be honest with you, Kai Havertz next summer, 2 years left. Apparently, club's interested. If you rotate him with another striker like a Sesko or someone with a bit more youth and gusto in them, then you've kind of revamped your striking options in 12 months. And I think that's what we have to do in general. Yeah. But yeah, Jordan, you've been eerily quiet.
No, just listening.
It's the calm before the storm. So
no storm. Just listening to Lee's waffle, innit? But so I'll get my concerns out first, and then I'll get to the positives, right? Because there are positives about Gyökeres. One of my main concerns was, and I've slightly kind of watered this down now, because I've done a bit of watching of some of his highlights this week. My concern was, and slightly still is that I felt that he was quite one-dimensional, and I think a lot of his goals are based on power and strength, and that's never a bad thing, right? I just feel in the Premier League, if you come in like a hurricane and you bully up the place in the first 5 or 10 games, I think that gets you 8-9 goals. But I think the Premier League works you out quite quickly. The Premier League defenders are not stupid. Premier League coaches, managers are not stupid. They will work you. If all you've got to offer is that I'm bigger than everybody else, that eventually, I think, runs dry. But I've watched some more of his goals, and there is a little bit more variety and diversity in his goals than I first thought there was, which is a good thing. There's a couple of headers in there. You're right. His record with headers isn't great, but as you said, we've got 4 or 5 great headers of the ball, so that's fine. His penalty taking is decent. I saw a few goals with his left foot. One thing I do like is that he does often run in behind. I don't like that I don't want another player that comes deep. I think we've got Kai Havertz that does a very good job of coming deep, bringing defenses up so that we can get the Flirter and Saka in behind. Jesus does a very good job of pulling wide and creating space in the hole for other players to come into when he does pull wide. But what I want is a striker that kind of just goes in behind. I want a striker that can kind of really push back defenses and be that threat. Because as Lee said, we discussed on 12th Man this week, I think the biggest beneficiary of someone like Gyökeres coming in is Martin Odegaard. I think he will be the biggest winner of everyone in the squad if Gyökeres comes in, because you'll have someone now that just wants to go in behind, just go in behind. So that was my main concern about Gyökeres. Lee's right. I'm going to just own it and say it from now, and I'll never mention it ever again. I would have preferred Watkins. I know it's not a popular shout. I know people aren't having it, and I get why. But I think Watkins, I feel more comfortable that Watkins can score the kind of goals or the amount of goals that we need to win a title than I am confident in Gyökeres. But that's not happening again. So I won't mention that ever again. That's done.
Thank you.
Just want to make it clear, I do have some concerns about Gyökeres, right? I have concerns. Now, some of the good things about him, I agree with you, Turkish. The fact that he's trying seemingly to do everything he can to not only come to the Premier League, but play for Arsenal. That looks good. That he wants to play for Arsenal Football Club, and he's giving up money, and he's pretty much gone on strike. He said to Sporting, I ain't coming back. So you, man, better do a deal, because otherwise I ain't coming back, right? I do think the handshake agreement thing you have with the president is nonsense. I don't understand why people do this whole handshake. You have my word. It doesn't mean anything. So yeah. I'm with Sporting on that one. If nothing was signed, sorry, bro, honor your contract. But it feels like to me he's gonna do all he can to get himself out of there, which for us is good. I like the fact that we're signing a number 9 as well. We're not going for a wide forward. We're not going for a false 9. We're not going for a 10 that can play as a striker. We're signing a number 9. And that, for me, from a club point of view, is a very, very good thing as well. We're just getting a 9.
It's all about goals. So I think that it will change slightly.
You're so sorry to cut, but I think it's over the last 3 seasons. Let me know if I'm wrong, comment say it might be 2.5. But Gyökeres' 38 assists ties with Saka's 38 assists, which is the most for us. So he's even got a little something there where I'm not saying he's an Ozil or an Arda Güler or someone that's he's someone that maybe takes the threat away and then can cut it back, or just lay it off to someone else. So
listen, I'm pretty sure gone are the days where and I think we had it a little bit with Aubameyang, if I'll be honest. Was a great goal scorer and all that, but his hold-up play wasn't great. And it was, to be honest, it was weak. It was a letdown to the team and all that. I don't think that you can have a player now coming into the systems of football where it's like mainly you're the main guy up front. Back in the day, it was 2 up there, where you could have a little bit of a, not a dodgy touch, but some of the greatest goal scorers of the old generation. And it weren't players that could hold the ball up. It was their weakest part of their game. You know what I mean? Like, oh, got to work on that and everything like that. But they were goal scorers, and I think you've got to have a little bit more than that now. And what I've seen of Gyökeres, he does bring players into play. And one of those reasons he brings his people into play and scores a lot of goals and creates a lot of goals is because, you know what, he's in and around the goal. That does help, like, you know what I mean? Like, I tell you what, like, I may, if I'm at the first game of the season against Leeds and I see Gyökeres on the right wing, I might go out and buy a burger and go home. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to see that. Yeah, I want to see him, you know, as the proper centre forward. Like, he might drift over to the left and everything like that. Look, you know,
so you're saying drop Havertz? Hold on, stop the press. What are you saying here?
Well, Havertz that's his game. That's what he's told to do. You know what I mean? Like,
who you starting? Who you starting game week 1 if Gyökeres signs?
Gyökeres.
Okay. Lee Judge speaks.
But Havertz will start the first game of the season.
Nah, if we sign Gyökeres and he doesn't start.
Do you know? Should I tell you what I think he'll do?
Go on.
Listen, if Gyökeres isn't on that tour, I think Havertz will start. Right?